Okay, so today we are on the ever exciting, even more so exciting than yesterday, quadratic formula. It is definitely one of my least favorite things. I absolutely don't like the quadratic formula, so I've made today's lesson hopefully pretty short. The quadratic formula is nothing more than plugging numbers into a formula. The hardest part is trying to memorize it, but I'm a firm believer in why do we have to memorize the quadratic formula. So I kept today's lesson really short. So the first one, solve the following equation by isolating the squared variable and then taking the square roots. So for this, I'm essentially just solving for x. I know that if you saw this on a test, some of you would be like, wait, I need to factor it, but there's no x value. You're just solving for x. Get x by itself. So don't overthink it. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides, okay? Then I'll divide both sides by 3, again, trying to get that x variable by itself. And then I can take the square root of both sides. So type that into Desmos, and then just remember that since it's x squared equaling something, that your final answer needs to be plus or minus. And we covered that in, I think, what are we on today? So maybe like 311, 312, I don't even know. Okay, so just remember plus or minus when it's an x squared, because I can either plug in a positive 18 and square it or plug in a negative 18 and square it. Okay. Part B, solve the following equation by factoring, which we just did yesterday. So both of my signs are going to be different. The larger number is going to be negative. So hopefully with some good practice yesterday, that wasn't too difficult to find. X minus 3, x plus 1. We still need to solve for x. So I'm going to take that x minus 3, solve for 0. X plus 1, solve for 0. So x would equal 3. I would set it equal to 0 and add 3 to both sides. And then x plus 1, set it equal to 0. Subtract 1 from both sides. X equals negative 1. Can the following equation be solved using the techniques from part A and B? Explain why or why not. Well, I can't solve it the first way because I can't combine any like terms. I really can't solve for x in any way. And if I tried to factor, the only factors of 11 are 11 and 1. And there's no way that 11 and 1 will ever equal 3. So I can't factor it. So no, this one's too hard. None of those tricks will work. So that's where the quadratic formula comes in. Yay. Here's a quadratic formula. Like I said, I would never expect any student to ever memorize this. I don't even have it memorized myself. I look it up every time I need to use it. So for the second one, we'll solve this quadratic formula using the equation, or using the quadratic, use the quadratic formula to solve the following equation. It would help if I tried to read the directions properly. Then solve it also by factoring to confirm your solutions. So basically here, they're just having you do double the work to show you the quadratic formula and factoring are essentially the same thing. You'll get the same results whichever one you do. They're just making you do extra work. Okay, so quadratic formula. I literally just copy and pasted it from up above. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Then I plugged in my a variable, my b variables, and my c variables in the correct spots, and I literally just plugged it into Desmos, except the first time I plugged it in, I used a negative, and then the second time I plugged it in, I used addition and subtraction. So plus square root 11 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 6, and then, I just deleted it all. Okay, bear with me. Negative 11 divided by, there we go, 4. All right, 0.5, let's do that as a fraction, 1/2. And then I'll just go back, erase that positive sign, and plug in a minus sign, -6. So my answers were 1/2 and -6. That's all I did. I plugged in the numbers and then plugged them right into the formula, into Desmos, okay? If we were to solve by factoring, it would take, I think, maybe just slightly longer, especially if you're using guess and check, which, of course, is what I did. So factors of 6, factors of 2 that are going to add to 11. Remember, it's the outsides plus the insides. It's this and this plus this and this. Does that equal 11? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. -3, 4 and -3 do not equal 11. So that one's not going to work. Okay, let's try another combination. Okay, let's do 6 and 1. So again, the outsides plus the insides. So 2 and -12. That will equal -11. I want positive 11. I'm close. Okay, let's try flipping those signs. If I did like this, outsides plus the insides, that's -12 plus -1, that equals positive 11. I can set each of those equal to 0, and I would get x equals 1/2 and x equals -6. So yes, perfect. This one was correct. All right, so it does work. Moving right along to number 3. Use the quadratic formula to solve the equation. Round the solutions to 3 decimal places if necessary. The only thing for this one is I need to get everything on the right-hand side and set it equal to 0. So add 5x to both sides. There we go. Quadratic formula. A equals 2, B equals 5, C equals -2. Plug them right into the quadratic formula, as shown here. So you don't have to type out this huge middle section right here. You can just do the math yourself and then write your quadratic formula like this, if that's a little bit easier. Then when you go to Desmos, it's a little bit less typing in, and then divided by 4. Okay, 0.351 is one of them, and then I go back, I erase that plus, and I plug in a minus. X will also equal -2.851. So there we go. Okay, hopefully that's not too bad. All it is just plugging in numbers. So thrilling, I know. Okay, moving on to number 4, and I didn't erase the answer, so this one has no real solutions. So what is that going to look like when there's no real solutions? Great question. Okay, A equals 3, B equals 6, 7 equals C. There's the quadratic formula. Again, don't memorize it, just copy and paste it. I'm going to plug in all of my things, and then just like before, I'm going to solve this middle section here. But when I do that, -4 times 3 times 7 equals -84, and I can't have a negative number. Oh, and then 6 squared, oops, that was supposed to be a highlighter. 6 squared equals 39. And I can't have a negative number. 39 minus 84 is going to be a negative number. I can't have a negative number underneath the square root symbol. So right away, no real solutions. You can't solve this one ever. Let's see, what was the next one? Number 5. This one I'm going to use, well, it says graphing calculator, but of course I don't use graphing calculators. Use Desmos. Okay, all I'm going to do is plug this guy right into Desmos, and it'll tell me my answers, and it'll be so quick. 6x plus 8. All right, then I can zoom in. If I tap the graph, or tap anywhere on the green quadratic function. And then if I tap those little circles where it intersects the x-axis, that's when that's when y will equal 0. And that's what I want. I want y to equal 0. So that means x is going to be 0.4 as a fraction is 2/5, and 1.33 repeating is 4/3. It's okay if you didn't know that. I just wrote them as fractions because I like fractions a little bit better than decimals. So we use Desmos. X equals 4/3. X equals 2/5. And that's really all there is to it. I gave you a couple homework problems to work on. Have fun. This is a really good lesson, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it so much.